Hello everyone. Welcome to Dr. J. Jaishankar's lecture series in Commerce, episode 3. The topic for today is importance of human resource management. We all know that in management there are 4 M's, namely men, machines, materials and money. Of these 4 M's, the first M, namely man, who needs to be given greater importance for the very reason that it is only man who has created the other 3 M's. So, as the creator, he deserves a special place when compared with his creations. And it is only man who is going to make use of the other 3 M's in a particular proportion for the betterment of his organization. Management of human resource used to be called personnel management in those days. The word personnel refers to the employees of an organization. It was only when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, she created the Ministry of Human Resource Development in the year 1985 and made Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao the first HRD Minister of India. Of course, we all know that later Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao himself became the Prime Minister of India. From then on, the concept of human resource management has come to occupy a prominent place both at the government level and also at the corporate level. In human resource management, every employee is seen as a resource. He is seen as an asset of the organization. This is because the fruits of his hard labor are going to be enjoyed by every enterprise over a fairly longer period of time. And when the organization derives the benefits are passed on to the society too is benefited, and when the society is benefited, the country at large is benefited. Even the salary or wage that is paid to the employee is only seen as an investment and it is not seen as an expenditure. Management of human resource is more complicated when compared to management of other resources. The reason is human resource possesses certain peculiar characteristics. What are these peculiar characteristics? The first and the foremost is that while all other resources merely exist, man alone lives. A machinery exists, a table exists. A machinery or a table will remain in the same place where it is kept unless and until someone moves it to another place. But in a workplace, as far as an employee is concerned, he will be just moving around even while doing his work. He will be interacting with the fellow workers. He will be getting instructions from the supervisor. So that is how he does his daily work. And at the end of the day, when his work gets over, he leaves his office to reach home to spend quality time with his family. Workers have emotions. A machinery has no emotions. In the workplace, a worker may get provoked and he gets furious. He loses concentration in work. So it is important that every worker has what is called emotional control. And it is also the duty of the HR manager to ensure that the work environment is always conducive for work. When it comes to motivation, an employee can be motivated to work better. But you cannot motivate a machine because it doesn't understand. You can always motivate a worker. Motivation doesn't mean giving away more monetary benefits to the workers. Even a word of appreciation would induce a worker to work harder and work better in future. When it comes to training, you cannot train a machinery. A machinery is designed to work in a particular fashion. Its capacity is limited, but as far as an employee is concerned, you can always give him training which will help him to enhance his skill level. So, when his skill level increases, obviously he'll be able to perform his work even more effectively and efficiently. And every worker has infinite capacity to think and act. So, the HR manager should not think that the capacity of every employee is restricted or limited. No, he has got infinite capacity. Sometimes a worker performs more than what is expected of him. So, the HR manager should try his best to get the best out of every employee. Only human resource can be creative. You cannot expect a machinery to be creative. So, every employee understands the situation in which he works. Sometimes he even does the work in a manner that was never expected of him. He produces spectacular results. This happens mainly because of his creative ability. So he is able to improvise his work, and sometimes he is able to give more than what is expected of him. And every employee is also able to be inquisitive, curious. He is always keen on learning new things. The manner in which some work was done 10 years back and the manner in which the work is done today, if you actually see, there will be a vast difference. This is because the workers have adapted to newer methods of doing work, and as a result, the performance also differs when compared with the performance that was given 10 or 15 years back. So the output is much better than how it was 10 or 15 years back. Then the concept of job satisfaction. Only workers derive job satisfaction. Only an employee in the workplace gets job satisfaction. A machinery doesn't derive job satisfaction. A worker, even though he is not given the salary that he expects or that he deserves, still gets job satisfaction because he likes his job. Even though he is not paid well, he is happy doing the work. And this is a unique quality of the human resource. This the manager must understand, and he should try to encourage such employees who are all assets of the enterprise. Grievances. Yes, employees do have complaints and grievances because the work environment may not always be conducive for all workers, and the distribution of work among the employees may not always be equitable. There may be favoritism, nepotism in the workplace. So you will have a section of employees always who have dissatisfaction with the management or with the work that is assigned to them. So the organization should have a proper grievance redressal machinery, and the grievances will have to be resolved at the earliest in the interest of every employee, and also in the larger interest of the organization. When it comes to compensation for work, every employee should be given salary commensurate with the work that he does. So obviously, unless the employee is paid well for the work he does, he will become dissatisfied, and he may even be thinking of leaving the organization. So it is important that the organization has a suitable wage policy to pay the right man the right salary or wage. Conflicts also arise in every workplace. Now, conflict, when we say, what we actually mean is difference of opinion. So, when it comes to allocation of work, or sharing of resources within an enterprise, conflicts do arise. And conflicts are important also in a workplace. Otherwise, best decisions cannot be taken. So, when there is difference of opinion over a certain issue, the issue is being discussed and deliberated by the employees in detail, and finally, a decision that is acceptable to almost all the employees is taken. So, conflicts are inevitable in every workplace, and the HR manager needs to encourage conflicts in the organization, which of course should remain at the optimum level. Social sciences such as psychology and sociology have relevance only for the management of human resource. Psychology deals with the mindset of employees. The quality of work depends much on the mindset of every worker. So, if the worker decides to go slow, naturally that day's output will get affected. And if the worker is very happy and he feels motivated on a particular day, obviously he will be doing more than what is expected of him that day. So, it is the mindset of the worker which has something to do with his psychology. And when we say sociology, it deals with group behavior. In a workplace, the work of one employee influences and is being influenced by the work of other employees. So it is important that there is proper coordination and cooperation among all the employees in the workplace. Authority can be delegated only to workers. You cannot delegate authority to a machine because, as I said earlier, it doesn't understand. And while assigning duty to an employee, the manager must understand that the work that is given to him is something that he is capable of doing. Asking an employee to do what he will not be able to do is of no use. So the manager should know that the right job must be given to the right person. The manager in a workplace also has to deal with the problem of labor turnover. As I said already, there is always scope for dissatisfaction among workers. And if this dissatisfaction remains for a longer period of time, what happens is the workers feel frustrated and a particular group of employees will be always thinking of finding a better job elsewhere. This is what is referred to as the problem of labor turnover. So it is important that the human resource department of the enterprise makes all possible efforts to keep the rate of labor turnover under control. Because when an employee is inducted into the organization, so much of money and time is being spent for his induction and also for giving him training. And if on a particular day if the worker says I am leaving, then naturally a vacancy is going to arise, and again the management has to find a replacement for him. This would involve additional expenditure for the enterprise. So this has to be avoided as far as possible. So the rate of labor turnover should always be kept minimum. Finally, there is one more important reason why human resource is considered to be more valuable than all other resources of an enterprise. While all other assets depreciate in value with the passage of time, it is only the value of human resource which always appreciates. A worker who has been working for the enterprise for over 30 years or so has more value to the enterprise than a worker who has just joined the enterprise. Whereas in the case of a machinery that is purchased today has more value than the machinery acquired 10 or 15 years back. That is why we say that human resource In the case of human resource, there is always appreciation, there is no depreciation. Whereas in the case of all other assets, there is only depreciation. The value of any machinery or plant will go on diminishing, and after some time, it has to be only sold as scrap. Now, I think we have discussed in detail as to why management of human resource is very important. What are all the peculiar characteristics of human resource that the HR manager needs to understand? And that I think is enough for today's discussion. I am sure you would have found it more enjoyable, more interesting. And let us wind up today's session. I would like to have your feedback. We will again meet next time. And this is Dr. J. Jaishankar signing off.